Hello everyone and welcome to another video. Today I have a book haul here for you. I have a lot of books out from the library. I think I went a bit crazy when the libraries opened up again here in Copenhagen and I just borrowed a lot of books. I reserved a lot of books and they kind of all came in at the same time, which is what normally happens, but weirdly enough. And then I also have a few books I bought from the bookshop. So I'm gonna start with the books from the library. And the very first book from the library is Frankenstein in Baghdad by Ahmed Saadawi. I saw this one a lot on BookTube last year in 2019 because it was nominated for the Man Booker Prize. I don't think it won though, but it has a really interesting premise and a really interesting plot. This one is about a scavenger, an older man living in Baghdad. He's selling all the old furniture and all kind of knickknacks. And he's, I guess, a witness to what's happening in the US occupied Baghdad because there's a lot of terrorist bombing, there's a lot of fighting, there's a lot of dead people all around. And he thinks that these people need a proper burial, but you cannot really bury a body when it's missing parts, right? Because of the bombings. So he decides to stitch one body together, and then the body suddenly disappears and it wreaks havoc, I guess, in the city. So the story goes from there. I think this is a very interesting take on the war and what's happening in contemporary Iraq, so I'm looking forward to getting to this. Then I have Number One Chinese Restaurant by Lillian Lee. I picked this up on a whim. I don't really know what this is about. I think this is mostly about a Chinese family and they're running a restaurant and all the kind of small things and small conflicts happening around that restaurant. So in my mind, I think this is gonna be a bit similar to Celeste Ng's writing. I don't know exactly what to expect from this, but I'm interested to see what this will be. It says in the bag that it is action-packed and a family story, and it's full of heartache and sharp humor. So I'm looking forward to it. The next book I have here is Middlegame by Seanan McGuire. I don't think I need to talk a lot about this because everyone who watches BookTube videos knows about this book. Everyone who reviewed this book seemed to absolutely love it. I haven't read anything by Seanan McGuire yet, but I plan to pick up the Wayward Children series. I think there's like 3, 4, 5 books out now, and each of those are much shorter than this one. But I don't know a lot about this other than it is fantasy, I think, and it follows the twins, and these twins were made somehow and they're geniuses separated by birth, and then they kind of find their way to each other again. I don't know, and I really don't want to know. I want to be surprised because everyone says both the writing and the world of world building and just the ideas and themes Seanan McGuire puts into their books is pretty great. So I'm looking forward to getting into this as well. The next book I have out is The Night Tiger by Yangsze Choo. I think this one is also one of those I picked up on a whim. I really love the cover, but I think what sold me is the sentence at the back, which says, "They say a tiger that devours too many humans can take the form of a man and walk among us." So I really love the premise of this. This is set in the 1930s in Malaysia, and it is about two different characters whose fate intertwine. It is heavily steeped in, the story is heavily based on Chinese folklore and superstition, and I think it's just very beautifully told. I have almost finished reading it. I have this much left, so I'm looking forward to finishing it. There's also mystery at the center of it. So if you like historical fiction and mystery, I think this is a great one to try out. The next book is on the Women's Prize for Fiction shortlist this year, so in 2020, and this one is Dominicana by Angie Cruz. This one follows Anna, who is a young girl from the Dominican Republic. Her family kind of forces her to marry this much older man because he will take her to live in New York, and they all kind of want to escape and have a better life in the United States. So this follows Anna and how she grapples with life in New York and what happens to her there. I think I read this one, so I don't want to say a lot about it because it's gonna be in my wrap-up next time, but I'm really happy I read it and I really liked it. Next, I have a book by an author I mentioned quite a few times recently on this channel, and it is Kazuo Ishiguro's The Buried Giant. I have read Never Let Me Go by Kazuo Ishiguro last year, and very recently I have read The Remains of the Day by him. I loved both of those novels, so when I saw this at the library, I just decided to pick it up. And this one is about an older couple who goes on a journey to find their missing son. I don't know much more about it, but I know that I'm gonna love the writing style because Kazuo Ishiguro is absolutely phenomenal at writing and prose and tone, and I know it's probably gonna be very character focused as well, and I really like those books. Everyone seems to be talking about Nicci French and the Frieda Klein series, so I decided to pick it up and check it out for myself. This is the first book in the series, Blue Monday. So this series follows this psychotherapist who gets involved in police investigations, I think murders, mysteries, something in that vein. So I haven't read these type of books so many lately, and in general not so many, because I normally don't read these type of books, but I guess I was just curious about it since I heard so much about this. So I'm looking forward to getting into this series, and I think there are 6 or 7 books in this series. So each book is titled after a day in the week. So this is the first one, which is titled after Monday. So looking forward to getting into this, and if I'm gonna like it, I will definitely continue with this series. And the last book I have out from the library is The Dragon Republic by R.F. Kuang. And I think this is just huge. It is how many pages? Over 600 pages. I have read The Poppy War last year or the year before, and I really loved it. It's like a Chinese-inspired epic fantasy story in which we follow this young girl who went to this, I think, not assassin school, but like military school. She comes from very humble origins, and then she also has magical powers, and there's war in this land. Everyone seemed to love the Poppy War, and everyone also seems to love this book. So I was looking forward to continuing with this series, and I think it's gonna be great because I haven't read a lot of fantasy lately. Well, I have read a few, but not so many as I normally do. So I'm looking forward to getting to this, especially because it's also a very big one. And I'm pretty sure I'm gonna love it. It has really a unique world and the unique fantasy and magic system. And as I said, it's really like Chinese inspired. So I'm looking forward to this. And then the last 4 books I have are all, funny enough, non-fiction books. And the first one is one I had on my TBR quite a while, I think a few years now. And when I saw it at the used bookstore, I just had to grab it. And it is Quiet by Susan Cain, The Power of Introverts in a World That Can't Stop Talking. So I heard a lot about this, and I'm hoping I'm gonna get some good information out of it, being an introvert myself. So yeah, whenever I feel up to a great nonfiction, I think I'm gonna enjoy this one. The next one is When They Call You a Terrorist, Black Lives Matter memoir by Patrisse, Khan-Cullors, and Asha Bandele. I don't know how to pronounce those names, sorry about that. But this one is about how the Black Lives Matter movement started and who started it. So I think it's a pretty important book to read, especially under the current circumstances. So I'm looking forward to this. The next book is one I've been meaning to pick up for quite a while, and it is Eating Animals by Jonathan Safran Foer. I think a lot of people feel really daunted by this book because it really connects plant-based diet to the environment, and it's a hard read, I think, and I think it will be, because I think he basically argues for that we should basically stop eating animals. And I really love how what the blurb says on the back. It says that I simply wanted to know for myself and my family what meat is, where does it come from, how is it produced, what are the economic, social and environmental effects, are there animals that it is straightforwardly right to eat, are there situations in which not eating animals is wrong. If this began as a personal quest, it didn't stay that way for long. So I'm really interested to see what this book brings. I have to also mention that I am a vegetarian, I eat mostly plant-based. So yeah, I don't know if this will bring much new knowledge for me, but I think it will tie it more into with the environment and the global warming. So I think from that point of view, I will learn a lot from this book. And then I picked up a book which normally I would never, but I think I want to learn more about history or history in general, just world history. So I just thought that this sounded really interesting. And this is Jared Diamond's Upheaval, How Nations Cope with Crisis and Change. And it details how some crises have unfolded in the past in several countries. I think the countries that are mentioned are Finland's war with the Soviet Union, and then modern Japan, Chile, Indonesia, Germany, and Australia. And then there's another part where it discusses where it discusses current crisis. So Japan, United States again, and the world in general. So I think this will give me a bit of more understanding of these particular situations and crises in these parts of the world. I've always liked history, so I'm looking forward to seeing how I get on with a book like this. I hope it won't be too heavy and too theoretical, because then it will be a really long read. So yeah. So these are all the books I have from the library and the few I bought physically. What do you think about them? Have you heard about these? Have you read any of these? Let me know in the comments below. But I guess I will be leaving you now. I have a lot to read, I guess. I hope I can get to these before I have to return them, especially the ones from the library. And yeah, I have read a few of these already, so I think they're gonna come up in my wrap-up pretty shortly. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.